your idea of a kit car? A glass fibre bathtub on a rusting Beetle chassis built by weirdo Meccano enthusiasts? Mine too.
I can never imagine anyone making a decent kit car. Can you?
But kit cars have changed, and this is the Quantum H4. Manufacturers recently got a huge kick up the proverbial when the government introduced the single vehicle approval regulations. Put simply, it means that your kit car has to undergo a more thorough examination. As a result, equipment and standards have improved.
You've got a heater that heats, a stereo that works in stereo, and door seals that very nearly seal.
But the appeal of kits isn't to own a perfect car. It is, I'm told, to drive a car that gets you noticed as an individual, albeit a lonely one.
See, the outside of the car does look quite sexy. The front end is very Denise Van Outen. Unfortunately, the rear end is more Vanessa Feltz.
And it doesn't get much better inside. The interior of the Quantum has no style. There's a bit of an Essex thing going on here. The tacky fabric is more fun pub than country club.
All of which leads us on to what is my, and I suspect your, fundamental problem with kit cars. They can be quite pricey. This can be anything from 10 to 12 grand, depending on which options you take. And of course, you've got to spend 8 months in your garage erecting it. So the question is, why bother?
A serious alternative was to go out and buy an MGF, new, or maybe an MX-5. But if you do that, you haven't got the fun and the enjoyment of having built a car. In some ways, it's a nicer car than your MGF, partly because the car has features, particularly the way the hard roof stays with the car, the roof folds down, half of it goes in the boot, and there's more luggage space as well. It's a seriously practical two-seater run-around sports car.
But what you're getting is a genetically modified Fiesta. Underneath all of this, it's basically a 1600 injection XR2, which is part of the problem. The car promises so much and doesn't deliver. The poke isn't there. It looks like it can drive well, but actually doesn't. It drives like, well, a Fiesta. So anything up to 12 grand, 6 months of your life, and the end of whatever relationship you had at the start. All for what? A Fiesta in a dress. I'm not convinced. I want something a little bit sportier. That's more like it. Small, compact, bijou, and red. This is the GTM Libra, a mid-engined, rear-wheel drive, two-seater sports car. Now, the main difference between this and the Quantum is that now let me get this right, the composite glass fibre monocoque balderdash. Basically, it's got no metal frame and it's a lot lighter and just as stiff. Now, the donor in this case is Rover's K-series of engines, which means that in there you can have anything from an 1100 to an 1800. But enough of all this. The car certainly looks the DBs, and I'm going to see if it drives like it. Now, unlike the Quantum, this car drives, handles and accelerates like a mid-engine two-seater sports car and feels nothing like the Rover Metro that's underneath it all.
GTM claim that the Libra has been designed and built for the track, and they're saying that the chassis is as good and as rigid as a Lotus Elise. Hold up, a Lotus Elise? At this point, I do have to remind myself that I'm speaking to people who spend hundreds of hours in their garage, alone, with nothing but a power tool for company.
However, I'm reasonably impressed. It is good fun, and the steering does feel precise. You're always aware that you're in a kit car and it rattles and creaks and the noise is very loud. But it's good fun.
Now, this car as a kit would cost you the best part of 9 grand, and to have the car made for you complete with go out and buy a proper car that doesn't leak.
If you want a production sports car with 3-speed fans, electric mirrors and central locking and all the rest, fine. But if you want a car that really drives and handles superlatively well and is designed specifically to do that, then you'll find a lot more entertaining and challenging car in the kit industry than you ever will from Ford and Vauxhall.
Well, that's all very well, but could you ever imagine spending £30,000 on a kit car? Well, that's what it'd cost you to get this Dax Kamala ready built from the factory. The engine is donated by Ford, which means that you could have any Ford engine in the back of here. I've got a Cosworth Turbo, so with over 300 brake horsepower to play with and a chassis the weight of a postage stamp, it's a car I want to have a go of. Now this car is absolutely bonkers. It does look like something a sixth former would draw on the back of a maths exercise book. And it's got space-age looks. I can't find the ejector seat button, but I'll tell you what, if Buck Rogers was going to have a kit car, he'd have a Dax Kamala. Behind me is about 340 brake horsepower. I'll tell you what, my knees are going, and I've got white knuckles, and I'm probably only using about half of the horses. It'll go from 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds, which I think you'll agree is mighty fine. The handling is superb. Again, it's a little creaky, but what do you expect from a kit car? But I'll tell you what, it goes like a rocket! Yeehaw!
I've had a pretty wide range of cars in the past, and I guess I get bored quickly. And but this has just been something else, and I'm still madly in love with it. The handling is fabulous. It really sticks down like nothing on earth. The speeds you can get this around the track really leave me breathless.
When you are on the track and you're hurtling round, does it ever cross your mind that you built it?
Yeah, but then I feel safer knowing that I put it together and I know it's right than just trusting to somebody else's mechanical ability.
Now, I started off as quite cynical, but I've been fairly impressed with the amount of fun you can have in a kit car, although I remain unconvinced. If I had 30 grand to spend on a car, then I have to say I'd still be going for a second-hand Ferrari or an M3. Having said that, I don't have 30 grand. If you do, then I've just told you what you should do with it. Now, who's got 30 pence for bus fare to Manchester? Anyone?